So again, whenever I talk about doing things in the two phases, the architecture and then the build, we'd want to go through a full architecture with you guys before we ever decided on, all right, this product's developed and we're just going to force you guys to use it one way. Questions that I ask during an architecture phase are questions like, what do you not like to do? Or what angers you? Or what happens when you do this? So we can identify pitfalls, redundancies, inefficiencies to architect the product, meaning the back-end administration, the way that it works best for the LP. Instead of just trying to come up with a one-size-fits-all solution and say, let's put the LP in this box. We really fine-tune everything precisely to the audience. Again, we're a software development company, so we build software precisely for your guys' use cases.
We'll be able to handle the fact that we've got national level, state level, county level.
Absolutely. And as I learned, you guys are using Razordex, that's something we can integrate with absolutely, no problem.
What happens with maintenance? I mean, like, we want to change something or whatever, you know, who does that? Do you have to do that? Do we do that?
So everything that we would build would be on a large-scale PHP framework, and that framework would have a content management system, meaning to make any textual changes or to, for instance, flip the switch between, I showed you the front page that had no money bomb and then the front page that had a money bomb, that's just you clicking the switch in the back end. Meaning everything throughout this website, even the menu navigation, is all administrable through a back-end content management system. So textual changes, basically anything you want to change aside from complete layout and color scheme would be editable through the back end.
A couple of questions. One, with this peer-to-peer fundraising you guys put together, did you develop that on your own?
We've not developed it yet. This is simply a design and a concept that we want to
So do you have it deployed anyone right now or anything similar to it?
We built dozens and dozens of software applications. This is just another software application.
No, but I'm trying to figure out the success rate that you guys have had with the peer-to-peer.
It's very similar to what Rocker Wellness used in several other campaigns. So we've not developed it yet. This is just one concept of many that we can try.
And what's your estimated time to launch for that being used as opposed?
I want a 12-month cycle. I put 120 days in the exposure.
I guess a similar question to that is basically what other customers have you had and what success have they had in improving their marketing by using your services?
Could I request 5 minutes to finish answering questions?
You can finish this question anyway.
Other clients that I have, which this organization I'm sure you're familiar with, Students for Liberty, we completely revamped how they utilize their online presence. You can ask Alexander McCoven, the president, how they've enjoyed working with us. We've done everything from all of their online conferences to their actual student conferences to how they collect data, to new forms. They can dynamically create a new payment form and have a student profile register, and they can track how many conferences the students went to. So we custom architected a solution for Students for Liberty. Another client would be the Charles Koch Institute, the charitable foundation of the world's largest privately held company, Viper Motorcycle Company, University of Minnesota, a lot of large institutions, even international media stations, Russia Today, a bunch of different clients.
Okay, and for these,
Dan,
I'm sorry.
time has expired.
I would like.
I'll look to extend 5 minutes. Do you want more?
5 minutes is questions. So.
Is there any objection to extending for 5 minutes? Seeing none, proceed.
So, my question then is, do you have any metrics as to how these organizations improve their membership, fundraising, whatever, as a result of your efforts?
Absolutely. I can give you other data for you. Not a problem. I can do that outside of this meeting. In terms of Students for Liberty, I can tell you just off the top of my head, last time I spoke with Alexander, their fundraising is up over 200% through their website. That's with us. Their student engagement, they didn't even have an online system beforehand. So in terms of metrics before we started working with them and after, I mean, it's completely revolutionized the way the organization even operates. They've gone from not having to have a data manager because the website manages all the data for them. So there may not have been before and after metrics, but it certainly changed how the organization works and made their lives a lot easier. And that's what I'm trying to do with LP.
And do you have other organizations where you have more precise metrics that you can supply us?
Absolutely. The first video we did for economicfreedom.org, did borrow marketing on that, was 500,000 views. And there's a bunch more use cases that we could walk through.
I want to go back to your marketing that you spoke about earlier, the why, that you want to spread out across everything, which I don't think is a bad idea. My concern is how do we arrive at that why? Who makes that determination?
That's a collaborative process. I detail in the proposal. What I want is I want several hour sessions with the LP and my organization. Meaning we would come and try to analyze exactly what gives people an emotional response. What associations do they have? And we build out from there. For instance, we've been working with...
No, you answer my question.
Okay.
Your proposal to do both, this sort of new marketing branding campaign and a new website, or?
It's comprehensive. Everything I talked about, from social media strategy, meaning we do all your guys' graphics on Facebook, Twitter, your email campaigns, to videos, to website and brand. Correct.
So I guess my follow-up is, would you be open to just a website and some data management as a contract as opposed to all marketing as well?
Absolutely. I put everything on there so you could have an understanding of what we can do and what we bring to the table. You can choose a la carte from there. I highly recommend, though, before we dive into a website, is we actually figure out color palettes, font hierarchy, build a brand identity for the LP. That's what really needs to happen. Dr. Mark.
Actually, what do you think of the Libertarian Party logo?
If I had the chance to redesign, I would immediately.
Actually, Mr. Olson.
Yes.
You're talking about EHP structure, driven by a couple switchers in the background. So I take that to mean also, you click on state, and that comes up, you click on Colorado, and all of a sudden you get a similar web page, but now all of a sudden it's all Colorado, because the switch has been flipped, and the content is now all Colorado. Colorado Board of Directors, Colorado Events, and Colorado Actions, Colorado.
Absolutely. The website would be built in a template structure to where every single state would have their own template.
All right, that's what I meant. Actually,
Oh,
you haven't asked the question yet. Go ahead.
okay.
Would you describe this overall plan you have in mind as bottom up or top down in terms of how it would actually function, and why would you give that answer? And can you say more about that?
In terms of marketing, I would consider it, I couldn't say top down or bottom up. When I say core, I mean we really want to derive the core libertarian message. It's more than just a how statement of how's your party different, well, maximum freedom, minimum government. That's a how statement. I want to get a why, an emotional, visceral response. I think...
You're familiar with the Ron Paul campaign, because you're libertarian, you said, right?
Correct.
So you know kind of how they had the success of the grassroots movement that took off with Ron Paul, and people were doing, stuff all across the country, everything, organizing a blimp to freeway blogging to, all the creative things that people did, And part of it, I think happened because there were all these people doing, there was no sort of centrally planned, like this is how the campaign is going to be, we're going to color coordinate everything and drive it from the central planning model. I'm wary of seeing us buy into a central planning model because it could be obsolete a year from now, 5 years from now, or we've locked ourselves into paying something, over the long term that's going to get very expensive. And the next LNC comes in, they may have totally different ideas, just keeps getting revamped, and we've been wasted a bunch of money and not listening to our affiliates, and they're not happy because they didn't have a role in this because it's all being sort of planned from the top down.
Okay,
Like to address
I
that?
understand your question. In that respect, I would answer bottom up, absolutely. Number one, the tools are focused on the user. They're not focused on necessarily the committee. The back-end administration focus on the committee and the tools and the data and metrics they need to obtain, while the design and the user experience is very much focused on being social and viral, which is something the Paul campaign lacked tremendously. There was no online tool for Paul supporters to utilize their website. Anything that was built by third-party websites and very much volunteer-based. Now, I also talked about the architecture portion, right, where we build everything out. That's something where we will take several-hour sessions listening to everyone to make sure that they are a part of that. That's something that is absolutely critical, that needs to happen before any of this is built, right? These are all just concepts, and I want